Alright, finally after almost a month of absolute nonsense, I'm back to the boat. It's not looking too good. There's stuff everywhere. It's all salty, rusty, and not in too good a shape, but I'll get it sorted out. I brought a lot of stuff back from the States and by some miracle didn't pay oversized fees anywhere. Don't know how that happened, but there's a lot of stuff I need to figure out where to store. But the boat's going to be pretty solid once I install and fix all the stuff I brought back. So, yeah, I'm just going to start putting away and then taking out again and starting the projects. Alright, finally got my new generator. My sister brought me this one from the mainland. She was visiting before I had my little health scare. This is the bigger one. It's the EU2200. So I'll be able to do a lot more with it. It'll be less fuel efficient, but I can just use it for more things, including power tools when I need them. And yeah, it should be good. I will definitely baby this one more, even though I did baby the other one too. It's just that wave took it out, but Mig over here, my twin Norcia 27, just keeps theirs out on the stern at all moments, which they seem to think is fine. Seems to work fine. It's just back there. So I don't know, I might have just had bad luck. The only thing special I'm gonna do is put this grease on all the bolts so they don't rust, and I might spray the exhaust with high temperature paint at some point, just so that doesn't rust, but I don't want to do that when I'm at this fancy dock. I already spilled oil. Before I start on the real projects and installing everything, I'm just going to show what I brought back to the boat, because it was quite a bit. This is a new battery charger. It's twice the size of the old one, and it can use 220 volt power instead of just 120, so I'll be able to run stuff and charge batteries without running the generator all the time. These are just some bus bars for the high output stuff, and a battery monitoring system, so I can actually know what's in the batteries and not just guess based off the voltage. Because I bought the bigger generator, I'm just going to use this induction stove now that I brought down to cook. It's a lot safer than propane, obviously, because there's no flammable gas in the boat. It's lighter, and I don't have to find the propane, which is quite difficult in Fiji. Obviously, I won't be able to cook when I'm sailing, outside of just using the Jetboil, because it's not gimbaled, and there's nothing to hold the pan and pot onto the stove, but that's no big deal. I don't really feel hungry when I sail anyways. I bought this fuel filter for the outboard on the dinghy, spare filter, and just overall gas filter. Yeah, I'm pretty vulnerable out when I'm alone by myself on the dinghy in the middle of nowhere, so I figured I should at least make sure the thing doesn't die ever from water or little particles in the fuel, so that'll keep me a bit safer. For that same reason, I bought this fancy handheld VHF radio. It's got GPS and actually AIS on it, so I'll have a backup boat identification system now when I'm sailing and don't want to get bonked by anyone. Most fun thing I brought back to the boat is these spear guns by Longshot. I bought them off a friend keeping his boat in Vuda Marina. Yeah, it should be fun to learn. I know nothing about spearfishing, but I've always wanted to try, and I think there's less ciguatera here than there was in French Polynesia, so once I start sailing again, which is hopefully within a week or so, I'll be giving this a go. Here are the spear guns. I bought both just because my friend was selling them as a package. I got 4 extra shafts plus the 2 that came with the guns. He included those as well, and this huge bag of extra bands and tips and float line and all that kind of stuff, so I should be pretty set up for a while. I brought a new windlass all the way from Seattle, which is what that thing is. Broke a long time ago, and I've been pulling it up by hand ever since, which is not safe at all. But the thing weighed 29.8 kilograms, the new one, and the plane limit was 30 kilograms. Another just super lucky coincidence I had coming back here. And walking to the marine store right now on Niue Island to get it. I shipped it from the main island of Fiji to there just because I didn't want to bring it on the small airplane. Here's the old windlass. The new one's not going to be super hard to fit, but I do need to buy some angle iron or angle aluminum to build it out so that the little gypsy falls straight into the chain fall, or else it'll just jam all the time. Yeah, so I can't start in that yet. There's not really any construction stores in Savu Savu, so I'm going to rent a car Tuesday and head to the main town of Vanua-Levu and get that sorted out. Alright, I'm going to try to explain what happened to the engine, what got fixed on the engine, and what's next for having a running boat. As some of you may know, I got hit by a freakishly big wave when I was sailing from French Polynesia to the Cook Islands. And that wave filled up the cockpit enough that my diesel vent hose siphoned water down into the fuel tank, which eventually made its way past this primary fuel filter, past the secondary fuel filter, through the injection pump, through the injectors to the engine. My first mistake was having that diesel vent hose in the cockpit. It should have been at some elevated area where if the cockpit were to fill up like it did, then it wouldn't siphon water into the tank. And my second mistake was not checking the fuel filter a couple hours into running it, or an hour into running it, because then I would have been able to tell that there's salt water getting into it and I could have just shut it down, sailed to Cook Islands, got towed in, and avoided this entire problem pretty much. But that's not what I did, so when I was in Niue, the engine started acting funny. I knew about the salt water at the time and I'd already cleaned it out. But the engine was progressively getting worse. It would run at 2,000 RPM first, which was 800 below what I even normally run it at. It should run up to 3,200 in gear. It would only do 2,000, then it would only do 1,500, then 1,100, and then 800. And at that point, it's pretty much just worthless. So I got towed into Savu Savu. I called a mechanic. First thing we did was take the injectors off and change the tips. They were fouled, or at least one of them was. They tested that in the shop and fixed it. And then when that didn't fix the engine problem, we took the injection pump off. The shop serviced it once, but they didn't do enough to it to actually change anything. So we took it back, demanded that they service it again, and set the pressure higher, and that did fix the problem. But that happened right before I got pretty ill and had to fly back to the States. So I don't know if it's going to start. I think it will, but I can't test it because the batteries are so dead that they won't start even if I run the generator. And yeah, so a couple problems need to be solved before I get everything running, but that should be soon. One of the 3 things wrong with the engine was this clogged up exhaust elbow. It would still work if I stuck it back on. I put some hydrochloric acid in and got the carbon out, but I just bought this new one and brought it from Seattle, so I'm gonna put this in. I also had that same mechanic change my engine mounts just because the labor here is pretty cheap and I knew he would do a better job than I would, or at least I thought. But he put them on backwards and he told me the alignment wasn't important at all, so I changed mechanics. I have another one coming today. We're gonna knock these out really fast and should be pretty much good to go after that. These engine mounts that I put on, the new ones, are made by Ellabogen, a company out of Spain. I haven't used them yet, obviously, and tested them, but I will say that the customer service out of that company is literally the best I've ever encountered. And regarding the health problem, when I was in Tonga, I kind of felt sick. And my theory is that when I sailed to Fiji from Tonga, I wasn't sleeping much, and that just made my immune system take a hit, and I got to Fiji and caught something else. I think it was from when I drank kava at the little marina ceremony when you show up. My lymph node on the right side blew up to about the size of a tennis ball, and it didn't go back down. So I went to a couple hospitals here, got various opinions from various doctors. I actually spent 2 days in the ICU of Savu Savu Hospital, which was a horrifying experience. Lesson learned that I should just fly to the States as soon as something's wrong with me, even though it's more expensive. They didn't have gloves, they didn't have toilet paper, they didn't have soap, and I'm kind of surprised I didn't catch a MRSA infection or anything. But 2 of the doctors told me I had something really serious, so I had to fly back to the States and get tested. I'm all good. It was just a bunch of bull crap. Yep, glad that's over. And I'm glad to be back on the boat and hoping I don't catch some other sort of strange disease here. Right after recording my little engine prognosis, my batteries showed up, so I'm gonna go grab those from the marine shop. They're not really what I wanted, but it's what's gonna work, and I can just drop in and not do anything, because I don't want to get caught up just doing boat projects for the next 2 months when I could be sailing. Well, I got my new batteries, and it turns out they sent me the wrong ones. I bought AGMs. These are gel batteries. Pretty unimpressive. I don't know if it's worth replacing them or if I should just put them on, but I don't want gel batteries. I want AGM batteries, so. Well, the mechanic is stuck in Sula, so I can't start on the engine mounts yet. I would just do it myself, but MIG, my twin Nordsee 27, is stuck here for the foreseeable future because they had bad alignment and screwed up their shaft seal, and whenever they run it, it overheats, and they just can't go anywhere, so I definitely don't want that problem. I am going to go for AGM batteries instead of the gels that they sent me. I read about the gels, and they're just more delicate, which is not something I want in this boat. So I'm going to have to drive over to Labasa on Tuesday. We're going to rent a car, me and Mig. And also I'll get my windlass plate that day so I can start working on that as well. But I'm pretty much stuck for now. In the meantime, I'll just keep cleaning and enjoying this nice marina. They're going to leave the boat here for the whole cyclone season. I'm thinking I might do the same. I just don't have time to sail Fiji and prep for New Zealand this year. But I'll give a small little boat tour of their boat. They've got a lot more stuff here, which I don't like, but they do. It's more sun protection and protection from water and all that, but it's also more windage, so the boat's always getting pushed on. And they've got all the solar stuff back here too, which again is effective, but it just adds a lot more windage, which doesn't do good things for performance. You can see from that little ring there that their water line is about 3 inches lower than mine is, just from all the stuff they're keeping on board. In my boat, I have the aft cockpit. On theirs, there's actually an aft cabin where Norm lives. Say hi, Norm.
Hi, Norm.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. Another difference between there and mine is that they don't actually have coamings. They had to build their own. Kind of interesting. I'm not sure why they did that at the North Sea factory, but yeah, a little bit different. This is a very nice marina, and supposedly it's rated for a Category 5 cyclone. Whether or not the boats would actually survive is more up for debate, I think. I'm on the side of the boats wouldn't survive, but they got these huge pylons everywhere. Brand new docks. I think they've been building this for 20 years, and it's cost them $100 million, but really nice place, and it's like 40% cheaper than the Aloi was where I kept it in Hawaii, and that place was an absolute dump. I'm deciding between leaving the boat here or staying on the boat here for cyclone season, or in Vuda Marina, which is more dry and more experienced when it comes to dealing with cyclones, but no complaints about this place. They have really nice bathrooms, nice restaurants. They just put a pizza oven in. First project is going to be to clean the dinghy up, bottom of the dinghy. I was in mental pain the whole time knowing I just left this thing here to rot in the sun. Got the bottom of the dinghy mostly better. Next project is to tackle the rust and stains that have formed due to leaving the engine mounts on the deck when I left there. And when I was at the boatyard, they put steel wool in here to stop rats from getting in, and it leaked out and caused that rust stain too. So I'm going to try to use this stuff to see what happens. Stuff actually worked amazingly well on the side here. It was quite rusty. Now it's not. I'm going to do it on the deck. This is the worst part right here, and I don't see why it won't work. I got most of the rust off. I'll need to do one more run, but it looks a lot better. A lot of my tools have gotten kind of rusty from all the salt and everything that's gotten on them, so I'm going to head to town and buy some new ones before I head out to the Lau Group, where I'm not going to be able to find anything. I got some tools from town, but the supply of Sabu Sabu is pretty limited, so I'm going to get more fresh tools when I head to Labasa, where I need to go for a plate for the windlass and new batteries and all sorts of stuff. But I had this wall of tools made when I was gone, and it's kind of trash. Like, the upholstery job is really not good. It doesn't show up in this video, but it's not straight anywhere. The first thing she made was great, of course. The lee cloth, so I can pull this up and not fall out of bed here. But the other stuff, like the outboard cover, is just terrible. But what it does do is allow me to put the tools in the bathroom, so I can clear up this, and my outboard will fit in there now, which opens up this bed to sleep in when I'm sailing, which is what it's designed for. I still have to get that hatch fixed that doesn't seal. Some of you might remember that. My bed is absolutely soaked, but yep, just gutting everything and putting it back in. Hey guys, I know this video wasn't as exciting as some of them, but I gotta do what I gotta do to get the boat ready, and hopefully after a week or so of boat projects, I'll be able to start looking for a weather window towards the Lau Group of Fiji. And I'll be back to sailing and remote destinations, spearfishing, and all that good stuff. I'm gonna have someone joining me tomorrow to kind of help out while I recover from the last 2 months, and thanks for watching.